please remain standing for the rendering of military honors.
These are the people that are watching it.
You may be seated.
Can you hear me?
Mute yourself.
Oh, that's nice. How do we get her off of that? She has to get herself
Get her
off
off
the
the
video, right?
I don't know.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay.
On behalf of the President of the United States Army, and the grateful nation, Please accept this flag as a symbol of our appreciation for your loved one's honorable and faithful service.
For those that don't know who I am, my name is Kimberly. I was Bill's daughter. I am Bill's daughter still. We thank you for all that we're able to tune in. I was hoping to be able to see everyone. I know we have Danielle, Cooper, and Josh, and Harry. I heard Dee Dee and June, and Brandy. Did I get everybody?
No,
No. Who am I missing?
you guys can talk. You can talk. Sorry. Hi.
Hi, Helen and Bob are here also. Can't get any pictures for some reason.
Hi, Aunt Helen and Uncle Bobby. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
I wrote out what I wanted to say.
There you go.
Through this process, I mean, now I can see everybody. Through this process, it's never easy losing a loved one, but I got to talk to many of you over the last couple weeks, and you all had such endearing and warm-hearted stories to tell about our father. And, you know, the stories covered his high school achievements in sports, his military accomplishments, even his eclectic taste in music. And they really helped to hear all of them. A recurring theme was that my father was just a generally kind and giving person. He didn't always have a lot, but if he thought you needed something that he had, he would gladly give it up without a thought. That old saying that he'd give the shirt off his own back is very fitting. I kind of in my mind went over the things I had learned from my father. He had a lot of sayings. Always value the dollar. He was always talking to me about making sure you got the best deal. A penny saved was a penny earned. My love for nature came from him. I'm an avid hiker, and he always said that you should travel through the forest silently, unlike me, who normally kicks up dust and leaves and twigs. One of his big things was he always wanted us to be humble, to not be boisterous, to not live in vanity. One of my special stories that I remembered, I was younger. I was a little confused about religion and church and God, and I was visiting him in Colorado, and we were walking through a beautiful meadow, and I asked him about God, and he took a minute to answer, but he said, you can worship God anywhere, like the beautiful meadow we were standing in. He said the most important thing was just to have a relationship with God. Talk to him like you would anybody else. And that has kept with me throughout the years. I talked to God a lot, and it just gave me a wonderful outlook while I was struggling with church and religion and that sort of thing. Talking to everyone, I think Uncle Archie summed up Bill Langerfeld the best. He said that Billy danced to a different drum, that he was a dichotomy in life. If you were like me, I had an inkling of what the word dichotomy meant, but I went ahead and looked it up anyway. It was a contrast between good and bad. We all know that Bill Langerfeld had a lot of wonderful qualities, but he also struggled with a few demons in his life. But towards the end of his life, I truly feel that he found peace within himself and within his life. And I think that helped with the loss of him. We lost my brother Willie Bell a few years back. My father was one of the most important people in his life, and he loved our monthly visits to go see Daddy. And it's not like they did anything special. They would hang out on the couch, Daddy would be watching his sports, but they would talk, and that was really important to Willie Bill. So my hope is that Willie Bill was there to greet Daddy when he went to heaven, and they're hanging out now and can hang out as often as they would like. I think we have a few minutes that if any of you this is my husband Billy, another Billy.
Because we needed another one of those in the family. As Kim said, I'm her husband. I only got to know her father for about 15, 16 years. Didn't know a lot, but I knew enough. The first time we got together, first few months, we knocked heads quite a bit. But then we found common ground. I was also a veteran of the United States Air Force, and that was the common ground. We could talk. Any of you that know anything about Vietnam vets especially, they keep it to themselves. They keep sealed up based on their experiences when they came home, and that's sad. But we had some good talks. You all obviously know he was in the Army. He was in Vietnam. One story I found out that many of you may not know. Sergeant Langerfeld, in the summer of 1967, was in a firefight in Vietnam. Most of his unit either killed or severely injured. He made certain everybody got out of that battlefield on helicopters to safety before he left himself, embodying the military motto of no man left behind. Another thing not many people know is because of that heroic, selfless act, he was awarded with the military's Bronze Star for valor. It's not easy to get. That's one of the highest military medals a member can receive. He didn't want the recognition. He didn't like talking about the recognition. He didn't want any of this. But for that sacrifice, he earned every bit of this and more. So when you remember back, I've often been told veterans are like a book. Unfortunately, a lot of the chapters have been edited out because they are not fit for general consumption. Jim?
Am I back where I'm supposed to be? I wanted to give you all a chance, if you had any stories you would like to tell, and hopefully everyone can hear you. I just wanted to say to all of you, if you could find your fondest memory of my father and just cherish it. If he shared any wisdom or antic with you, pass it along. And that way he will continue to live on, even though he's no longer with us here on earth. So I would like to open it up to any of you that would like to share any stories you may have. Don't everybody jump at it at once.
Yeah, I can open it up if that's okay.
Yes,
Dee
hi,
Dee,
Charlie.
your mute is still on, so we can't hear anything you say. So can anybody hear me?
Yes, Charlie, we can hear you.
Yeah, I remember
We can
being
hear
in
you.
Colorado with Bill, and whenever we wanted to go fishing, he used to take me over to a place called Willow Creek, and I believe one of his daughters is named Willow also. And we used to catch some brookies over there, the best trout I think I've ever fished. So that's one of my fondest memories of Bill. Another one was sometimes I'd go up to the Steamboat Lake, and they had a little restaurant up there, and I'd be flipping hamburgers for wedding parties and stuff when they had it up there. So that's a couple of my fondest memories. I see Willow just joined us.
Thank you, Charlie. Anyone else?
Well, this is Harry and Diane. We have a few thousand stories since we got married in 77 and in 77 and a half or 78. Bruce Douglas, William Lagerfeld, and Charlie Lagerfeld showed up at my doorstep in Steamboat Springs. Bruce left. The other two decided to stay and live with us for a long time. And we had a great time together. We explored the mountains. We built businesses. We built houses. We traveled the country. Then we dispersed to other parts after about maybe 30 years. And we had lots of adventures. And like your husband Bill said, we never much talked about what we did overseas. So I'm glad Bill was able to inform me about the awards. We had a great time. We went to California. We've been all over the country. We invested in many things together, businesses, and it's a loss. And his demons got the best of him at times, but we also had a great times together. That'll go for the rest of you. Who wants to speak next?
Do you want to put that on us so you can see us while we're listening?
Thank you, Harry. Anybody else?
Yeah, hi. This is Archie, Dee Dee's husband. And I guess I would just like to say that, Billy and I were friends. We went through the good times and the bad times, mostly good. He was a funny type guy. Just one quick story. I remember he said I was the only thing that kept him from getting a dishonorable discharge, because when he used to come home, he would, of course, have too much to drink and then not want to go back. And I used to have to pour him in my car and drive him back to Fort Dix in New Jersey. I was lucky that he had a sergeant down there that was much like him. And we became friends. Cost me a couple of bottles of good liquor, but I enjoyed all the things that we did together. Steve Herson is on the call. Steve is one of the fellas in the picture of the track team, and Steve and Billy won one of the highest awards in New York State, the Penn Relays, and we were all very proud of him. It also made sure that he was the only one that got away most of the times. But we all loved him in our own different way. And we still have friends that call or ask us how he's doing still today. So as Kimberly said, he's gone, but we still remember him as long as we keep him in our hearts and minds. And Dee Dee and I, feel bad, but at the same time, Billy's totally at peace, which makes us all very happy. Not as happy as we'd be if he was still here. So I'd just like to say thank you to Billy for what he gave all of us. And I want to thank him for being my best friend.
Thank you, Uncle
Could I
Archie.
say something now?
Of course.
I would just like all of the children, the siblings, to know that my brother was so proud of each and every one of you. And when you gave him that photograph book of all of you together, and he came here, he showed it to everybody that he saw. It just meant the world to him. And I thank you for doing that for him. I know he was very difficult at times, but he did have a wonderful, wonderful, good heart. And I appreciate that all of you know that side of him. And I am going to do my best to let all of the siblings hear all the wonderful, good stories and things that they never heard. Thank you. And thank you, Billy and Kimberly, for this. And little Bailey, thank you all for putting this together for us.
Of course.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
This is Steve. Archie mentioned the experience Billy and I had in Pennsylvania. It was quite a day. I'll just tell a quick story, and then I just want to read something that I think applies to him. After we won our deal down there, and the whole thing took, 3.5 minutes, but for us, it was a very big deal because we weren't supposed to be there. We were such a small school. And we all went back to the rooms that we were staying at the Benjamin Franklin Hotel. And Billy and I were actually roommates. There were 4 of us. And the other Billy and Johnny were in one room, and Billy and I were in the other. We were so excited that we took the feather pillows and destroyed them. And as we were doing it, we went out into the hall doing it. And who's standing there looking at us laughing but Bob Hayes? Now, I don't know who remembers Bob Hayes or who doesn't, but Bob Hayes was nicknamed Bullet Bob. He was the world's fastest human, and he played for the Dallas Cowboys, and he was quite an athlete. And we all met him, and he got a real kick out of us destroying the room. We also played football, and there's a zillion stories there, and I don't think I would begin to tell them because this thing would go on for hours. But let me just read something if I can. And I don't see as well as I used to. So, but this is from my fraternity, and it describes what they call a true gentleman. And I just don't think it would apply anybody better than it would apply to Billy. So let me try to read it, and then I'll shut my mouth. The true gentleman is a man whose conduct proceeds from goodwill and an acute sense of propriety, and whose self-control is equal to all emergencies, who does not make the poor man conscious of his poverty, the obscure man of his obscurity, or any man of his inferiority or deformity, who is himself humbled and necessity compels him to humble another, who does not flatter wealth, cringe before power, or boast of his own possessions or achievements, who speaks with frankness and always with sincerity and sympathy, whose deed follows his word, who thinks of the rights and feelings of others rather than his own, and who appears well in any company, a man with whom honor is sacred and virtue safe. And I can't think of a better way to describe him. And I've known Billy for 60 years. And I would say of all the people I know, this describes him better than anything. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Our time in this
Thank
little
you, Steve.
area is up. They're going to place the ashes in the, is it considered the wall? wall compartment, can they go with us?
I'd have to carry this whole setup just like this down there.
I don't think we can get the equipment down there.
We will send pictures.
We will take pictures and I can post them on the Langerfeld Facebook page. I thank you again so much for all of you that have attended. And it just reminds me that Bill Langerfeld was important to a lot of people, and I so appreciate you being here. Did you have any questions before we sign off? Why?
So they can hear you.
Oh, well, I just asked if they had any questions.
And I muted them.
Did anybody have any questions? Just maybe raise your hand and Billy will make sure we can hear you. Go ahead.
Dante. Wondering for the kiddos here, or I suppose they're adults now, can we FaceTime to see the next portion of this? So that they have the opportunity to see where he's laid to rest.
Do I have FaceTime?
Oh, that's an Apple thing now.
I don't have an Apple phone, Dante. I have,
Through
I'm sorry?
through Facebook.
Oh,
Oh,
I
through
will call-
Facebook?
Messenger, yes. Yep.
Cooper will call you if that's okay.
That's fine. That's
Thank you.
fine. Oh, no problem. Thank you, everyone.